Back on TYT Sports on PLUTO TV and on YouTube. That's Francis Maxwell. I'm Jason Rubin. We're going to jump right into it. Stephen Curry and Kyrie Irving are the two best handling point guards in the business, and they get to go head-to-head in the playoffs for a second straight year. Kyrie Irving was injured in the first one.
I remember that.
So Chef Curry got to cook up other players, not necessarily Kyrie Irving himself. And the numbers, Francis, are very interesting, especially when you see the regular season split versus the NBA playoff split, and then you look at these NBA playoffs where Steph Curry is shooting 50% from the field. Steph Curry, the usually 44-ish% shooter from the field who never really shows up during the NBA playoffs and specifically the NBA finals, although recent numbers and recent memory will actually tell you that Dirk Nowitzki's 2011 finals and Steph Curry's 2015 finals are almost identical, but nobody's ever dared to say Dirk didn't show up during the 2011 NBA finals. Francis, here is the comp for, according to Land of Basketball, the regular season, and you will see a difference. So NBA regular season stats, the points were similar. This is career, by the way. Rebounds, assists, steals, you know. Steph Curry, though, over the past 2-3 years has obviously surpassed Kyrie Irving based on points per game and shooting percentages. If you go to the second card, I should say, which is percentages during the regular season, Stephen Curry obliterates the competition in most percentages in terms of the volume he's shooting in, 47 compared to 45, 44 if you round up to 38.5 for the three-point percentage. But when you go to the playoffs as a career, and Steph Curry's sample size is a little bit bigger, it's different. Career, I was shocked to see that three-point percentage and field goal percentages have favored Kyrie Irving.
That is pretty shocking.
But based on how Steph Curry is shooting this playoffs compared to Kyrie Irving, those numbers should flip once again, unless Steph Curry does not have as strong finals as he has usually regular seasons. If you have to pick a player for your team for a 7-game series to win a championship, you get Steph Curry or you get to choose Kyrie Irving. Which one are you taking? There's really not a wrong answer here, but it's who are you taking? You get Steph or Kyrie, or if you want shirtless J.R. Smith. But we all know that's the right answer.
It's an awful question. It's a real awful question.
Would you rather have Steph Curry or Kyrie?
Well, I think that it's a question that, regardless, it's not a wrong. You don't have a wrong answer, but you probably don't have a right answer either. Because if you're Golden State Warriors, you're going to take Steph Curry. Because if you're Cleveland Cavaliers, I think you need Kyrie Irving more than you would need a Steph Curry in their current team at the moment. If you're having to build a team around either of them from the ground up, and you need to take one or the other,
that's part of the question.
I would probably take Kyrie Irving just because I think that he does not rely on a certain aspect of his game, and that's why I personally like him in a system that I would probably build around him. Because as I mentioned before, when Kyrie Irving goes off and he racks up 40 whatever points, when you look at it on paper, it's not that he shoots 10 3-points and you're thinking to yourself 10 from 3 and you're thinking, oh my God, this guy just went off from 3. When more often than not, Steph Curry, when he does rack up a mountainous amount of points, it's because he's went off from 3 and he's missed, what, 2 out of his last 15 shots, and you're thinking to yourself, all right, when this guy gets hot from 3, no one's stopping him. That's not to take away from his handles or his ability to cut or his amazing vision or the ability he has to pass. They're both phenomenal players. I just think if I was to build a franchise moving forward, Kyrie Irving's going to offer me a different dynamic when I need it, because you're going to come up against a team like what happened last year in the Oklahoma City Thunder, where for one game they outsmarted the Golden State Warriors and put Steven Adams on Steph Curry, and that shut him down for that game, and I get that Curry got his own back. But if you're going to come up against an opponent that maybe has a phenomenally gifted coach that thinks, you know what, I'm going to nullify their best player by just completely shutting out his three-point game, Kyrie Irving's going to offer something I think a little different to combat that. He's maybe going to rely more so on his drive. He's maybe going to rely more so on his handles and his ability to get to the rim regardless. So just for those points, whether you obliterate me or not, I would take Kyrie.
Well, here's the thing. So Kyrie Irving is younger. If you're starting your team, there's that major benefit. He's also, well, both have been injured, but I think Kyrie's been slightly less injured than Steph Curry, but not by much. We don't know how good Kyrie Irving would have become without LeBron James elevating his game to another level. We also don't know how good Steph Curry would have became if it wasn't for Steve Kerr eventually taking over Mark Jackson's team that he built to put players like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green around players like Steph Curry. Steph Curry does more than Kyrie Irving overall, and people who say all Steph Curry does is shoot and all Steph Curry can do is shoot really well, they're wrong, because when it comes to the actual bigger advanced stats and like impact, the only thing I don't like about the impact stats, like how much better your team is how much better you are as a team with the player on and off the court, is what Kyrie Irving does have that will not show up in a stat sheet is if I need someone to take the shot with under 2 minutes left, it is undoubtedly and only Kyrie Irving in the entirety of the league. When it matters most, Kyrie Irving is better than Steph Curry when it comes to scoring, but for the other 36 minutes of the game, they can go toe-to-toe, or whatever minutes that they're playing with each other. So the thing I like about Kyrie Irving was a lot of the things I liked about Kobe Bryant. They're isolation scorers. You get put on an island with this player, you're gonna be left on that island without a boat because that boat is sailed.
He's a killer.
Kobe did this very well. Michael Jordan did it better than everybody else. Kyrie Irving does it. It's like if you took Michael and Kobe and you just kind of shrunk them a little bit.
I remember you said that to me before, and the more I watch him, you see. And he has
his handles.
His handles, his step away jumper as well. He's got the ability to find room for a shot. And that's just my own opinion for it.
There's no wrong answer here.
Yeah, because if you're
fine with either.
If you're taking either of those on a team, then if you're coming up against LeBron James, you're probably going to lose either way.
Well, you might get. Well, that's the thing is like, what if Steph Curry played with LeBron? What if Kyrie played with Draymond, Klay, and Kevin Durant? It's such an interesting swap because, I mean, well, you're adding. I don't know. Curry and LeBron would be a very scary mix because just the how open Curry would be still for threes.
Yeah,
and that would be the Cavs shoot better from three than the Warriors do in these playoffs.
Yeah, that's an interesting point to take. Most people think Golden State Warriors, three-point shooting team, that's how they're gonna obliterate their opponents. But a lot of time people overlook how efficient Kevin Love can be from three, how efficient the entirety of the Cavaliers can be when they need to be.
The Curry-Durant pick and roll is one of the scariest formations, sets, whatever you want to call it, offensive schemes. Some people.
Who calls it that?
Schematics.
No one calls it that.
Mathematics.
No one has.